1 Corinthians 4:1. Let a man so account of us as the ministers of Hamashiach and the stewards of the mysteries of God. Kol Halal Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi Bahasham Bakaha Qadash. Double honors into the apostles, double honors into the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen that look like those heathen. This is not a black thing. And to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning to you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you another lesson in truth. All right, this is the third installment expose on Esau Edom in the series that is called The Apologists Have Been Proven Liars to be liars again or yet again. So we're just going to go into some more biblical history, scripture, and evidence, and how the three connect together, and how these mysteries were only given to the men of the Lord, which are now sharing them with the world. And Esau is being found out and searched out. Let's grab that in Obadiah. Obadiah 1:6. And it reads, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? Well, one of the things is that his confederacy is falling apart. You know, EU, NATO, the other nations that supported him, that were part of the that council, that secret council in confederacy in Psalms 83. All right, he's basically, Esau has driven a knife into the back over time, and all those that help him rise and stay in power by subjugating and you know, the Israelites. Remember, the true heritage of Israel has been hijacked by Esau Edom. Esau Edom has been parading around the earth that he's actually his brother Jacob, right? When he's indeed the left-hand side brother, the wicked brother, Esau, or Esav, as the rabbis say. Obadiah 1:7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. And they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there is none understanding in him. So, you know, a lot of your business partners, as far as the other nations are concerned, have laid that wound under you. They're turning against you. You know, when China and Russia got together back, what was it, back in 2012 or 13? And they made a pact back then that they would no longer use the dollar between themselves. And now all the BRICS nations and many NATO and EU nations are seeing the benefit in that as well, and are joining on to them. And the Western media is completely downplaying this, because the truth be said, the dollar is already dead. Okay? The average American just hasn't figured that out yet. And it will show itself very soon. There will more than likely not be an, you know, a presidential election. I believe something is going to happen to stop it, or happen while it's going on. It's too much happening in the world. All right, they got a new planned, you know what, to give everybody a universal band-aid. So you just got all kind of things coming down the, you know, coming down the pipe there. But we left off at the minute and 40-second mark in this video, as we destroyed the Edomite, the whitewashed historical lies, and exposed them. So we're going to continue, probably, you know, let it play for a couple minutes or so. We'll see what happens through the Spirit, because I've got a plethora of evidence and scripture and books that I will share to back up anything that I'm saying with history and with scripture, just as I was taught by the true men of the Lord, the apostles and the elder bishops of the great millstone. So here we go.
36 verse 2. The daughters of Ishmael, Genesis 28 verse 9, 36 verse 3. The daughters of the Hivites, Genesis 36.
Okay, as you would watch the first installment and the second installment, he's talking about the wives of these dark nations that Esau was marrying, and it wasn't a color thing, as this guy tries to as Charles Wiseman tried to pull off, and also as Paul Matrogen, the narrator of this audio book, is also trying to push that same message that displeased the parents of Esau. It had nothing to do with their color. Everyone was dark at that time except Esau. What it had to do with was their abominable ways, which is why they didn't want their son Esau or Esav to marry these dark flesh women, the Ishmaelites, which you would call, Arabs or Indians today, because that's basically what an Arab is, a mixture, and as a mixture between the Elamites and the Arab nations. All right, you either Ishmael or Elam, but when they mix, they're called Arabs. All right, if that makes any sense. When the people intermarry, they're called Arabs. But just know and understand, whatever the father is, that's what the children are. That's what the race is. All right, so that word mix can be as confusing of a word as the word Jew, because you have to remember the Edomites took the word Jew and hijacked Israel with it, and they replaced Israelite and Israel basically with Jew and Jewish. All right, and tried to blend them to make the one thing, and they're not, because the Israelites are the actual bloodline of Jacob, and the Jewish people are the converts who are Edomites, who are Edom, Esav. All right, and that's one of those mysteries that they've tried to hide all this time.
6 verse 2. And the Horites, Genesis 36 verses 19 through 21. These interracial marriages were a grief of mind to Isaac and Rebekah, Esau's parents.
So that's the control narrative. Had nothing to do with color or being interracial. It had everything to do, because there's no such thing as interracial. All right, that's another made-up Western concept. It had everything to do with the heathens not following the God of Abraham and Isaac. That's what the problem was. So, and he, just the same way that he'll leave out the word Israelite and just say Jewish, remember, it is the 12 tribes of Israel, not the 12 tribes of Jews or Jewish. All right, Abraham was not a Jew. Isaac was not a Jew. Jacob was not a Jew. Jacob became the first Israelites, and his 12 sons and his daughter became the Israelites. Okay? Named for his namesake. They did not become the 12 tribes of Jews or Jewish. That all goes back to John Hyrcanus during the time of the Maccabees, 3-4 generations in. All right, when the conquering and fighting with the Idumeans, which is the Greek way of saying Edom or Esav, and they took those Edomites and forced them to follow the ways of the Bible, and there is your Jewish and your Judaism connection. All right, and so these converts basically have misled the world into believing that they are the bloodline people of Jacob when they are the bloodline people of Esav. It's important that you know that as you're listening to this.
Genesis 26, verse 35. The descendants of Esau from these marriages became Edomites. Genesis 36, verse 9. Esau and the Edomites dwelt in Mount Seir, Genesis 36, 8 through 9, which God gave to Esau for a possession, Deuteronomy 2, verse 5, Joshua 20.
Let's pause right there and show you some receipts of what Mount Seir looked like. Okay? And I'm using the actual phone. Yeah, here we go. Found him. Okay. So you would think that you were looking at ancient Greece, and you are not. You're looking at the a rebuilt temple of the Edomites. About I think this was about 20 miles east of Mount Seir. These are the relics that were found in Mount Seir. All right, this was not Greece. This was not Rome. These are the relics that were found in Mount Seir, in and around Mount Seir. All right, these indeed are Idumeans, the Edomites, so-called white people. All right, who have tried to hide who they were. Once again, you would think that you were looking at some ancient Grecian. All right, but these are Edomites. And remember, they took over Greece, took over the portion of Europe, or the portion of Asia that is called Europe. All right? That's why they say Eurasia. So these people are frauds. That is an image of Mount Seir. All right? I guess that's the main spot, you know, looking from another mountain down into it. Those that dwells in the cleft of the rocks. And on the top of those, Mount Seir, at the very top of those structures, are eagles. All right, those are eagles that are at the very top. So we're dealing with the Edomite race, who's pretty much, and this was the video, this was the Asian guy in Asia, all right, which is where Mount Seir is, Western Asia, what you call the Middle East. All right, what they began to call the Middle East in the mid-1800s. So these people just hijack everything. Okay, so so what he just talked about, Mount Seir, you just witnessed it. And as you see, beyond a shadow of a doubt, with the receipts and the evidences that were just displayed, that is indeed the so-called white man. And there is not two sets of white people. Japhet, with the same sort of receipts and information, it's an easy thing to prove that Japhet was a people of color, a melanated people. All right, Alexander took over them. All right, the Edomites took over that portion of Asia that they now call Europe, and basically they hijacked that heritage and claimed it for their own. Esau Edom has been running from his heritage and his destiny and who he is, all right, ever since the birthright was given to Jacob. All right, point blank period. He wants back a birthright that was actually never his, starting in heaven. The Lord ordained it that it would be Jacob's. All right, because normally, you know, the firstborn, the lion's shares of any heritage goes to the firstborn son. All right, but in this case, it went to the second one. All right, there was another example of that too, with Ephraim and Manasseh. All right, Manasseh was actually the firstborn son of Joseph, but it was Ephraim that got the lion's portion. And Ephraim would be the so-called Puerto Ricans today. All right, they're the head tribe of the northern kingdom. Okay, the head tribe of the northern kingdom are who you call the Ephraimites. So you have to be circumspect when you're reading the Bible. When it speaks about Ephraim, it's either talking about that one tribe of people, or it's talking about the entire northern kingdom. You have to be able to discern when you're reading which it's talking about. It's either talking about Ephraim tribe singular, or it's talking about the entire northern kingdom, which is the 10 tribes that came here to the Americas. All right. 1700 years, they were here. All right. After the Assyrian captivity, they were separated from the southern kingdom for at least that period of time. So that's a long time to be away from your people. Hence the reason why it's, there's a lot of differences in how they look today, because laying seed in different heathens and living among different heathens. All right. Let us continue.
4 verse 4. This land of Edom, Mount Seir, lay south of the Dead Sea and includes the ravine known as Petra. After the conquest of Judah by the Babylonians.
You just witnessed Petra in imagery. I just showed it to you. That was Mount Seir, that ravine.
Some of the Edomites who had mixed with the Jews in their land resettled.
So he's saying, so once again, he just told a lie. He just told a complete, total fabrication. He replaced Jews with Israelites. And that's what because they can connect Jews to people that appear to, that are pale in complexion. But they can't do that with Israelites. Like the video with the rabbi, as of recent, among the tribe of Ebo, telling them that they are ancient Israelites. All right. So because there was no such thing as a Jew yet, John Hyrcanus hadn't done a forced conversion of the Edomites, to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. So this guy, this narrator, and Charles Wiseman both just lied. They told the truth, and yet they lied at the same time. Esau Edom tells history in a way that he can control the narrative. All right? And there is no mixture, There's no such thing. All right? We've explained that to you. That, 1,000 times over and over again. The Bible tells you very clearly the most most basic scripture, the most milk scripture on it is Numbers 1 and 18. All right. Although it's not my favorite, it's the most basic, because there are some that just go so hard that you can't deny it, But this is Numbers 1 and 18. And it simply reads, and they assembled all the congregation to get together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the numbers of names, from 20 years old and upward by their polls. All right. So their heritage is declared by the house of your father. Determines who you are, not your mother. A mother plays no role in identity. All right. A mother play, she can contribute to your looks, your skin complexion, all of that. Right. But as far as heritage and bloodline, you are already, the seed you came from was already a bloodline. All right. Simple as that. Women are incubators. Then they incubate the seed that is put in them. And if a woman allows, Esau Edom to do that to them, then they're bringing forth an Edomite. If that person is, if he was actually an Edomite, it's as simple as that. All right, it shouldn't be any confusion with that at all.
With them in Judea, Jeremiah 40 verses 11 through 12. 2 centuries later, all of Edom was driven out of Mount Seir. The Edomites were driven from Petra westward by the Nabateans in 312 BC.
Nabateans are Ishmaelites, all right, the sons of Ishmael, also Hebrews.
And before the middle of the 2nd century BC, they were occupying not only southern Judah, but also Hebron and the country to its north, as far as Beth-zur. 1 Maccabees 4, verse 29, and chapter 5, verse 65. Footnote: John D. Davis, A Dictionary of the Bible, 1934, page 332. End footnote. The Nabateans now occupied Mount Seir, and the Edomites were driven into the old territory of Judah. The Maccabean family had ruled Judea from 166 to 37 BC, and under Judah Maccabee, 1 Maccabees 5 verse 3,
he's giving you
recaptured
scripture.
the city of Hebron from the Edomites in one.
As a matter of fact, let's get an account of what happened when they recaptured it. This is 1 Maccabees 3 and 48. I started about 46. All right. And remember, it was 2 generations later after what Judah Maccabees and his brothers brought down these Edomites that were at Hebron. It was 2 generations later that, you know, that their family, the nephew of Judas Maccabees, John Hyrcanus, forced the Edomites to follow basically surrender, follow our ways, or die, which was a foolish thing to do. Should have just killed them all, but prophecy had to be fulfilled. All right, you know, prophecy had to be fulfilled because Edom, Esav, as the rabbis call them, has to be the ruling class people in the end of days upon the return of the Lord. So this is 1 Maccabees 3 and 48. And I don't know if I'm going to get to any of these receipts that I have because, you know, like I said, when he speaks, he speaks so many lies, he has to be corrected. So it's going to take a long time to get through this 17-minute video. We're 3 minutes and 54 seconds in. All right, but this is 1 Maccabees 3 and 48. And it reads, and laid open the book of the, now I started 46. Wherefore the Israelites assembled themselves together and came to Masphah over against Jerusalem, for Masphah was a place where they prayed aforetime in Israel. It didn't say that they prayed. See, where's the Jewishness at? All right. It says, then they fasted that day and put on sackcloth and cast ashes upon their heads and rent their clothes and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images, which they repeated in the biggest way during the time of the Renaissance, when Esau, Edom, the rebirth of Edom, when the Edomites came back into power and took back over Asia, you know, including the portions that they call Europe today, the portions of Asia that they call Europe. Okay, so it's very important to know that.
64 BC. A decisive change in the relations between the two factions took place when Judah Maccabee's son, John Hyrcanus, 109 BC, confronted the Edomites. John Hyrcanus conquered the whole of Edom.
That wasn't his son. That was his nephew, and I think it was his great nephew. It was 3 generations down. Okay. Let me grab this book. I guess we will get to see this one receipt. Let him speak though.
And undertook the forced conversion of its inhabitants to Judaism.
See, so
Josephus's Antiquities.
So the made-up word of Judaism, which is a Babylonian, with the Israelites never worshiped Judaism or Babylonianism. So they're lying here. Remember, they take the word Jew and they replace Israelite or Israel with Jew and Jewish, thus creating this confusion. All right. But in this book, this one here, the New Bible Dictionary, that book right there. Okay. Now I just gave them an easy out for those of you watching this video. They're going to probably make that the thumbnail for the video and not the actual image that you've been looking at the whole time. Is, you know, with the star and the goat, who's Esau, Edom, because that's what they do, trying to hide. You know, I noticed they do that with most of my videos. When I put up, you know, imagery like that, they'll just pick a picture. If I would have left that there the whole time, they would have found an image from the internet, put up a flower or something. You know, this is what they do. So they don't want this So here we go. So here are the lines of to show you that what I was saying was correct and what he said was wrong. This is what the scholars have to say about the Maccabees. And you can see Judas, Mattathias, you see John, you see Simon, you see Eleazar, and Jonathan. All right, the 5 Maccabean brothers. As you can see, Judas had no sons, no children. Simon, all right, he named his son after his brother Judas, and he named his other son John. That's John Hyrcanus I. Okay, and as you go down the line, you have the 3rd generation of the Maccabees. Now, when you get to the 4th generation of the Maccabees, there you get John Hyrcanus II. So this guy told you a partial truth. All right, so it's 4 generations down. All right, and been fighting with the so-called white people. 4 generations later, that's when John Hyrcanus does the forced conversion. We can get rid of that now. To Judaism, forcing the the Edomites to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. All right, so there's a correct. So even though you're getting some accurate history in here, you're also getting and who is Esau Edom. You also getting this false narrative control mechanism, which is what Esau Edom loves to try to control history. All right. So I'm gonna leave these books in place. All this evidence, I'm gonna leave this one out. The Spirit is telling me to leave it. I'm gonna leave all this information in place so that I can use it on the next installment. I know Jacob has a short attention span, and so we're gonna play the video, and then we're gonna eventually bring out all these resources. I got about several books here, and to prove that what's being taught here by Great Millstone is the actual truth. All right, and that these apologists and these Christians are indeed liars. So with that, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash, Kwam Yasharala, Shalom.